Didn't Mary Mallon infect like over 50 people with typhoid fever with her food? The fuck are you hailing her for? What's going on, everybody? It's the Granddad Woolly, and you are here again for another edition of Woolly Reviews Hip Hop Data. We got another album review today, and we're going to be going into independent hip hop land and talking about the new album from Hail Mary Mallon entitled Bestiary. But it looks like it's spelled Bestiary, but it's Bestiary. Whatever. Now, Hail Mary Mallon is a collaborative group between New York MCs Aesop Rock and Rob Sonic. This is the follow-up to their 2011 debut, Are You Gonna Eat That, off Rhymesayers Entertainment, and they're back again with their follow-up 3 years later. Now, for those who aren't familiar with either MC, Aesop Rock has been in the game for years. He, has been putting out music for a long ass time. He was, he came up with Def Jux when they were a big thing, and then a few years later he signed with Rhymesayers, and he, has been doing well. He's actually released a couple releases off Rhymesayers. He was a part of the Felt 3 album. And then he also, did his previous album, Skeleton, was on Rhymesayers, and also The Uncluded with Kimya Dawson, and like I said, Hail Mary Mallon. So he's been doing a lot of releasing with Rhymesayers, and I think he's gonna stay there probably for the rest of his career. It seems like it. And Rob Sonic is an MC coming out of New York. He's not as well known, but he's got a lot of great, records under his belt. He's completely independent, and he's gotten a lot of shine by linking up with Aesop and doing these records. So now they're coming together for the follow-up to this album, and let's talk about it. Now, Bestiary seems like a more well-rounded and more complete album than the first Hail Mary Mallon record, which was still really good. But if for some reason with this one, I feel personally that it's got more of a fine tune to it. On top of that, it seems like Rob Sonic and Aesop Rock are really in tune with each other, and they've really come together as this group, and they really play off of each other. Their rhyming ability is great. They bounce back off one another, and you can actually hear them competing with each other for the better verse or the better line. You hear that in it, which brings that natural competitive nature of hip hop. It's all on this album, even, with the weird, song and subject matters, because the thing about Aesop Rock and Rob Sonic is half the time you don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. You have to really listen to them to understand what the hell they're talking about, because they are really complex. But, and even after that, you still probably won't get everything they're saying, but it sounds really damn good. And they really know how to rhyme their ass off. So even if you don't understand what they're saying, you can still enjoy what they're saying, because it's really clever and it sounds really nice on top of the beat. And, they're just lyrical as hell. That's their nature. And, I love me some lyrical hip hop. And I can break down a good chunk of what's going on with their songs, and then some of them, I still don't get the fuck what they're talking about, but it sounds nice, and I'll probably figure it out later. I'm still breaking down shit from Skeleton. They sound really good and in tune with each other, especially on top of the production. It fits them well, and all I can say is that it really sounds like they were focused and they knew what they wanted to do with this album, and it is sonically and very different from the first Mallon album, but I like it better. I like this album sound a lot better than the first one. Now, I always got to give you my top 5 tracks, and these are the tracks that I tend to go back to and listen to the most part. Now, this album is a full playthrough, but there are some tracks on here that I really don't care too much for, but they're not bad. I just don't really say, oh my god, they're okay tracks. I can listen to it if I'm listening to the album in a full setting, if I want to listen to the whole album front to back. But if I'm just trying to skim through a couple tracks to pick a couple that I want to hear, they're not going to be there. So here's my top 5 tracks: Krill, Used Cars, Hang 10, Whales, and Kiln. And I like all those records, but for some reason, I think my favorites out of those, it's a tie between Whales and Kiln. And Used Cars is a close second to replacing one of those. But those 3 are my main ones. But like I said, those are my top 5. Those are the ones that I always go back and listen to. And that's just like, probably, the best parts of the album for me. But the whole thing is really dope. And a cool thing, and a funny thing that I like about the album too, is throughout the album that's playing, it's a little side story going on through the album where they're trying to raise money for this fundraiser concert to reopen this bowling alley that closed down in their town. So as the album's playing through, you kind of hear the progression of, them, getting the concert together. And then at the end of it is a really fun, I'm not going to tell you what happens at the end, but it's really funny what happens at the end of the whole story and at the whole situation trying to do this fundraiser concert. So I like that about the album. It's really, entertaining, the music and that little side story as well. And also, You know, it's just some real good elements, especially, you know, the scratches. DJ Big Wiz, who does, you know, the scratches on there, he's actually, you know, a member of the group either. He's not the rapper, he's the DJ, but he's part of the Mallon team as well. And he does some really great work on here with the scratches on all the records. So like that really just, it's so many elements and dope elements on here that makes this album such an enjoyable listen and a unique listen. It's something that you won't hear from any other album. Hail Mary Mallon as a group, they give you something so different and unique that makes it just them. It's like they have their own sound and direction and dynamic that just sets them apart from the rest, which is why I gravitate towards, you know, listening to their albums and their music. And I like their first album. I like their second album. I'm not too sold on a whole bunch of tracks, but they're not bad. They're just okay. But it is a decent listen play through. But for the most part, I enjoyed, you know, Bestiary. Why I want to say Bestiary? Because it sounds and it looks like Bestiary. You should have put an A in that name. But I'm off topic. But for the most part, Bestiary is a good album. I highly, you know, think you should check it out. And there's nothing more I can say about it for the most part. So my final verdict, I'm not saying that Hail Mary Mallon Bestiary is an all-around great, solid album, especially a good follow-up to the first album. I even think it's a little bit better. All I'm saying is that if you're into the independent, underground, super complex lyrical hip-hop, this is up your alley. It sounds great. Beats are dope. It's got a lot of good elements with the scratches and, you know, the way the beats sound, and they're lyrical. They're spitting some crazy stuff. You may not understand what they're saying, but it sounds good. And when you do understand what they're saying, it is some crazy shit that's like, whoa, like these guys are on it. So all I have to say is that take a few tracks here and there that are okay, but not enough to kill the album for me. It is a good playthrough though. So all I can say is that even with all that said, Hail Mary Mallon Bestiary, to me, is 100% Granddad approved. Definitely go check it out. I think you should put it in the rotation. If you're a fan of Aesop Rock or Rob Sonic, you need to have this album because they do not disappoint. And I got nothing else more to say than Hail Mary Mallon. Go get it. But don't support Hail Mary Mallon because she killed people. But support them, but not the real Mary Mallon. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, go get the album. Granddad approved. Flip it. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Make sure you give me a thumbs up and drop a comment. Tell me what you think of Hail Mary Mallon Bestiary. If you've checked it out, if you haven't, go ahead and cop it. Support the artist. Check it out. Come back. Let me know the feedback. Also, a previous video on the side as well as my music video. Go and check those out. Show them some love. And as always, Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, Instagram. Links in the description below. And hit that subscribe button. Button on the screen. Button below. Woolly Reviews. Twice a week. Tuesday, Friday. Do that and you get that. You see what I'm saying? So, until next time, I take my leave. Granddad, Hail Mary Mallon Bestiary. I'm out of here.